All right, welcome back in. A special guest here on Pirate Radio Live today, the former East Carolina baseball player. Not usually how you're probably introduced, but currently the mayor of Greenville, which you've been for a long time, Mayor P.J. Connelly. Welcome to Pirate Radio Live. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Which, I mean, lots of titles you have that you roll with. Obviously, everybody knows you as the mayor, but maybe some people don't know you as a former East Carolina baseball player.
Which would be okay. I mean, that's probably what I would expect. So
I want to go back fourscore and almost 21 years ago, March 4th, 2005. I printed off a little material here. It says, in front of a school record, 4,410 fans in attendance, East Carolina defeated Michigan 2-1 in the first game ever played at Clark LeClaire Stadium. And the winning pitcher of that game, who tossed 7 innings, allowing just one run and 4 hits, was P.J. Connelly. Can you believe it's been almost 21 years since you threw the first pitch at Clark LeClaire Stadium?
I will say time is flying, but I always tell everybody that unfortunately, thank goodness for the LeClaire family, because they threw out the first pitch, and technically I would say that's probably a strike. I threw a ball.
Yeah, I was getting ready to ask you. Do you remember what you were in the? I was going through. They got it on ECUPirates.com. They had the first ever pitch, and it was a ball by P.J. Connelly. But it looks like you got your head straight and were able to recover.
Yeah, that's right. So I was like, when I threw it, I go, oh my gosh, it's gonna be in the record books. The first pitch at Clark LeClaire Stadium was a ball.
What was that moment like for you? Because I mean, new stadium. I mean, the Claire family. I mean, it was a big deal. And the game, a lot of people may not remember, and I didn't really remember until just right now. 11 a.m. start.
Yeah. I mean, it was a pretty neat thing. I was fortunate enough to be able to play there the year before on Harrington Field, and so I knew the significance of the new field. And I mean, it was a pretty electric atmosphere up there, and so being able to be the first person to pitch in that stadium was pretty cool.
I wanted to have you down here. Obviously, the LeClaire tournament back in town, just a staple with the East Carolina baseball program, and just always a fun weekend of reminiscing of where East Carolina's going. It's hard to believe 21 years since the stadium is open, but what has it been like for you to as a former player and be here in Greenville and watch the program grow and develop, and then even this weekend, honoring Coach LeClaire?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I think the fact that the East Carolina program has been so good for so many decades, right? It's not like we were a fluke that we had the best team for a couple of years. It's been decades that we've been great, and Coach Godwin's doing an outstanding job continuing that same legacy throughout the years. And I'm excited. I mean, now as the role as the mayor, it's great to be able to see the economic boom that the success of the Pirate program brings to our city. And so I'm really excited to have Clark LeClaire Stadium in our community, and I'm excited to have Keith LeClaire being honored this weekend.
Want to talk to you more about how the city and ECU can work together, but I guess my big question is why'd you bow out in the 7th inning? Why couldn't you do the complete game that first day? You had to let TJ Hose come in and get the W. What happened that game? Do you remember?
Yeah, that was kind of messed up. I kind of wanted to keep going. I think I was getting close to 100 pitches that game, and as a pitcher, you definitely don't want to show up your coach, but that was probably one of those moments that I would have liked to kept going.
So did he take you out? It was all predetermined. So you would have stayed in if you were allowed.
I would stay in forever if I could. I would do it until my arm would fall off. That's just the type of person that I was, and I like to be on the mound in the big situations. And I think at that point, I think it was 1-1 or something like that, or 1-2 that we were at that point. And so I definitely wanted to keep the ball in my hands. So.
Coach Mazey was your coach at the time. Did he or anything leading up to that game, that first game in the new stadium that you remember, or that really stands out of when you were out there for the moment, or when you came out, or the Pirates defeating Michigan?
I'll say the one thing that I can specifically remember is don't screw up. don't lose the first game at Clark LeClaire Stadium. That's about all I can remember from that day. But I do remember going out there playing in front of the crowd, and I mean that was pretty neat. Like I said, playing it on Harrington Field the last year was special. We had the changes with the jungle. The jungle was a little bit different back then when we had the trees that were right up against the fence, and people were out there drinking, dumping beer on the opposing players and yelling out at them. Still, some of that gets done today, but it was just a different atmosphere. But to be able to play and see Clark LeClaire Stadium for the very first time being filled with so many fans was awesome.
I've heard your story. You left East Carolina, played some minor league baseball for a little bit, and then for people that don't know, when did you integrate back into Greenville? And of course, I mean everybody knows your long run at Mayor now, but what brought you back here after playing minor league baseball for such a short stint?
I was fortunate to travel around to different cities, not only just in college, but in my professional career, even in different countries. And I knew that Greenville was a special place. When I came here, I was very welcomed by the fans. I felt like it was a place that I wanted to come, open up a business, get married, have a family. And I knew it was a place that I wanted to put my roots down. And so that's why I came back, and I've been fortunate enough to be put in this role. I never anticipated that I'd be the mayor of the city of Greenville, never had any need to be in politics, but here I am. This is my 11th year as an elected official, 9th year as the mayor, and I'm enjoying it.
Was someone ask you to run for city council, or was it something that was even on your radar, or was it something that kind of caught you off guard?
So back in 2013, I actually had a local business owner here reach out to me and say, "Hey, you might be a good person to run for city council." And as a naive person, about 30 years old at that time, I said, "Yeah, that sounds like a great idea." Having no idea, never been involved in politics before, never studied any of the issues. Thankfully, somebody else decided to run, and so that gave me 2 years to really kind of study and understand what politics is really about, some of the hot issues in our community. And then 2 years later, in 2015, I decided to run for city council and ran in District 5 and won. And then 2 years later, in 2017, I made the jump to run for mayor.
You didn't know much about politics. You said in 2013, when you reflect back on it, what's the one thing that stands out that you know more about now about politics that if you could tell your younger self, hey, this is what you need to know, what would that be?
I think probably the one thing would be is not to get so upset. When I first got in office, that I think I had one of my colleagues call me as Councilman No. And it used to really bother me. And we would get done with the meeting and I'd lose a bunch of votes and I wasn't real happy about it. And I'd be sitting in bed, laying in bed, couldn't go to sleep till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Now it's kind of like, hey, just move on to the next thing. And you just kind of have to understand to pick your battles, not get too upset during the situations, and understand that things will work out long term. And for me, it did work out, and I'm happy to be in the position that I'm in.
How has sports and politics prepared you? I mean, are there close parallels, or are they just two different worlds?
Without a doubt, I would say that that's probably what has given me the most experience to be able to be prepared to be in politics, because you have to think on your toes sometimes, right? And you've got to be willing to deal with things that you're not normally used to dealing with. You're unprepared sometimes, and you just kind of have to figure out a way to be able to get out of situations. And that has probably been one of the best things that I have gone through as an athlete, to be able to get prepared for those, because you have no idea what's going to happen sometimes. You could have somebody show up at one of your meetings and talk, and somehow you have to be able to address the situation that they're asking about, and you haven't prepared for it. And so I found as an athlete, that has been a huge advantage for me over some other people that are in politics.
Sports and politics, people can really love you, and then they can really, let's just say, dislike you at times. Which is harder, being in sports or politics, when on the downside, and which is better on the upside of when you're getting the love?
Well, I'd say the difference is I've been on the mound and I've been booed off the field by 7,000-8,000 people. I guess I could probably say that I've been booed on social media by 7,000 to 8,000 people. I mean, I think it's all the same. As I get a little bit older, I could put up with it a little bit more than I could. But on the flip side of that, what I've learned, what kind of goes hand in hand is one day you could be the hero, the next day you could be the loser, and the best part about it is the next day is a brand new day. And it's a way for you to change, something bad that may have happened the day before.
Sports mentality, next play,
right.
next day.
That's right.
So win every day and
Right.
try to get to that. Mayor P.J. Connelly joining us, also former East Carolina baseball player. I wanted to talk to you about, because you're in a unique position because you have the experience and background of being at ECU as an athlete, but now as the mayor. How do you feel that the city and ECU are working together to improve both parties?
It's important for us as a city to work in tandem with ECU. I mean, their success is our success, and vice versa. Our success is their success, and we're very lucky to have East Carolina University in our community. They're a huge asset as we're going out and recruiting businesses to come here. They're looking for their workforce to be able to jump into their businesses, and so it's important for us to have a good relationship. The other thing is too, as a growing city, it's important for us to make sure that we're recruiting those students that are coming here because they're coming from all over the world to attend school at this university. And for us, it's an opportunity. We get about 4 years. Some of them, if they have a really good time, might be 5 or 6 years here at ECU. But we get an opportunity to be able to sell the city of Greenville, just like the city was able to, I guess, bring me in as a new resident that was from Wisconsin that you wouldn't traditionally say would be coming down to Greenville, North Carolina to make their home. So, it's important for us to work together. I think that we do a really good job with that. We're very lucky. We've got good leadership at the university, and I think that we kind of have a cohesive message when it comes to moving our city and our university.
Are there any specific initiatives you guys are really working on with specifically with athletics or with the university as a whole to help in the next year or two?
I mean, I don't know if there's anything specific. I will say, though, that we're pretty well aligned. We want success. I'm really excited about what's happening with the football program. I think Blake Harrell's doing an outstanding job. Anytime that our football team does really well, our city does really well because people are coming to our community, spending money in our restaurants or retail locations. They're buying gas, so it's a good thing for us. And so we want to continue to be a good partner. If there's ways that we can help them out, we definitely will. We've had some conversations about that, potentially helping them with like police and fire and rescue services that we can offer, maybe give them a discount on that to be able to help them out because we want them to be successful because the city's going to be successful. Anytime that the sports program does well, we do well.
Sports is huge. How big of an economic impact does it help the city when East Carolina is thriving? And obviously football is the big one, but just year round in sports.
A lot of communities don't have the opportunity to be able to have, 6, 7 football games at home and be able to bring 40, 50,000 people to their community on a weekend. And so we're in that situation. We want to embrace that. We want to make sure that we're helping out the university as much as we possibly can because it's good for our local businesses. We have people that are sitting down, eating at restaurants, going to the hotels, going to retail locations, and just helping out our economic environment that we have here in the city. So I love it. I think we're lucky. Greenville's very blessed to have a university. We're also blessed to have a community college that's here. And so I think we understand the importance of that and making sure that they're at the table when any discussion that we have to make sure that we have their thoughts so that way we're working together.
Sports is huge. Youth athletics is huge. I know you're heavily involved in your daughters. You always hear the travel ball is a growing thing in all aspects, whether it's volleyball, softball, baseball. You always hear, is Greenville going to get a complex? What's Greenville doing to enhance youth sports, which is already awesome? We get the Little League Softball World Series here. There's so many great things going on, but just like anything, people want more. Is there things coming up that can enhance the youth sports here in Greenville?
Without a doubt. We just recently signed a long-term lease agreement for the North Recreation Campus. And so there's 8 soccer fields, rectangular fields that are out there right now. The city of Greenville is in the process of designing 4 more fields, so we'll have 12 total fields out there. We can host up to 300 teams for a soccer event that's out there, and so that's a lot of people coming to our community, right? You're talking about 10 players per team. You're talking about their siblings, their parents that are showing up, so that's a huge influx of people on a weekend. But that's just one part of the equation. The other part of the equation, which I'm a little bit more excited about, and I'm a little bit biased because of my past, and that my daughters are playing softball, is that we also are going to add 12 diamond fields on the other side of the road. And so we're in the process of designing that right now. But it is going to be big for our city. I think it's going to be big for our entire region to be able to have 12 rectangular fields, 12 diamond fields where people can come, have tournaments. I mean, you could see 30, 40,000, 50,000 people coming every single weekend for tournaments. And I'm really excited about it because it's good for our economy, and I think it's going to be good for people in Eastern North Carolina. No offense to some of the places, the rural places that we go to for softball, but there's so much more to do here in Greenville, and I think we have a lot to be able to showcase, and it's an opportunity for us to continue to grow our city when we get more people coming in on a regular basis.
Is that an infrastructure thing where we need more hotels, more other businesses coming to town?
Without a doubt. I mean, I think what we're anticipating is once we start to have some of those tournaments, you're going to start to see more commercial establishments popping up right off of the 264 area over there. Anybody that's listening to this and wants to open up a business, I'm sure that would be a great place for you to start locating some land. Because I think things are going to start getting really, really busy over in that area.
What's the one thing when Mayor PJ Connelly meets somebody and says, "You're the mayor of Greenville"? What's your flex? What are you most proud of this community, Greenville, and what you've accomplished as being mayor?
I think the one thing that I always think about is that I don't really have to sell Greenville, right? Like I do because I feel like it's my job, but when people get here, as long as they get here, I think they see how cool it is. I just had a ribbon cutting earlier today, had a conversation with a local business owner that just opened up a franchise here, and he said Greenville was one of the most easy places to be able to open their business, and he said that everybody has been so inviting, other business owners have been so welcoming to him. And so to me, every time that I have a conversation with somebody that's coming in for an event to our community, they say the same exact thing. They say Greenville is the place to be. It's a great place. You're very lucky to have it. And we're on a great trajectory of where we're heading in the future.
What's next for PJ? How much longer do you want? Do you want to be mayor, or do you have aspirations now that you're in the political arena? Do you want to go up, president, governor, anything else you want to do?
I don't know. We'll see. I think time will tell. I mean, I've enjoyed it. I do feel strongly that I think that it's important for people to have term limits and not be in the same position at the same time, because I think it's important to have different perspectives and different ideas coming forward. And so I'm playing it day by day. We'll see. Maybe something will pop up in the future. If there's an opportunity, maybe I'll look at it. But, I think that I've been very happy with where I'm at right now. I think Greenville's in a great place. I would go out on a limb to say that Greenville is probably one of the best run cities. And it's not because of me. It's because of our staff. In the entire state. I mean, we are doing really, really well right now. I think that we've got great leadership with Michael Cowan as the city manager. We've got great department heads. Don Octagon, who is in charge of our recreation and parks department, does a wonderful job. I could go on and on about all the leadership, all of our police chief, our fire chief. We're in a really good spot right now.
If they would have handed you the first ball back on March 4th, 2005, said, "Hey, look, I want you to have a great day, but don't worry about too much. You're going to be the mayor of the city one day." What would PJ Connelly back then said in 2005?
I would have laughed. If you would have told me even 15 years ago that I was going to be the mayor of the city, I probably would have laughed. There's no way I thought I would do it. When I was in college, I was at a community college in Kansas, right on the Kansas-Oklahoma border. I had to take a class as a freshman, and they said it was a public speaking class. And I remember I was scared to death to speak in front of anybody. I had to go to the front of the classroom, and I specifically remember what I taught the class. I taught the class how to throw a curveball.
That was your speech.
And I shook like a leaf the entire time. And for you to say that I was going to have to go in front of, thousands of people and speak to them on a regular basis, I would have laughed at you. There was no way that I was going to do that.
So what would you tell maybe a guy on the East Carolina baseball team right now that could be our next mayor 15, 20 years from now? What advice would you give them today?
If you stick around, if I can do it, you can do it. That would be my advice. And if you think it's not going to happen, it could happen. You just never know. I think that's the wonderful thing about politics is if you've got a passion and you want to change things and you want to get involved, there's an opportunity, right? I always tell the kids when I go out to the schools and talk to them, I said, there's 3 qualifications to be the mayor of the city of Greenville. You've got to be 18 years old, you've got to be registered to vote, and you have to live in the corporate city limits of the city of Greenville. I said, doesn't take much. So, if you've got a passion and you want to move the city forward, I hope that somebody from the East Carolina baseball team will go ahead and run in the future.
Well, PJ, I appreciate you coming by, spending some time with us today. I know throwing out the first pitch, and this weekend with the Keith LeClaire Classic, I wanted to come have you share your story on Pirate Radio again. But I know there's a lot of things you're working on with the city, with the ECU, and just everything to help make our community better. We appreciate what you've been doing, and we'll have to have you back when we can talk more about some of the fun projects you just mentioned a little while ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you having me, and I'm looking forward to seeing our Pirates have a lot of success this weekend. So go Pirates.
Absolutely. Thanks, PJ.